Yes, people. It's GG at GG on Wrestling on Twitter. Moment of silence while you like and subscribe. Thank you very much. And audio listeners, make sure you're leaving a review. They do really help. I'm back with some more wrestling wish lists and predictions for 2022, and I have a very special guest who I'll bring on shortly. Just a quick recap of what the video is. We are basically getting guests on to give two predictions for wrestling in 2022, two wishes for 2022. These are things, bolder the better, wilder the better, just dream scenarios for us wrestling fans. By the end of the year, we'll have an idea of, who was right, who was closest to being right. And we're going to give 2 points to a correct prediction and 5 points if your wishes come true. Before I bring up my guest, make sure you hit up figtees.co.uk for all your custom figure shirts. Great selection on there and even does custom designs. Use code GGPod and you can save yourself some money. Without further ado, let me bring up my very special guest from SCW. Make sure you're following that channel and subscribed. It is the man himself, Steve. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, really good, thank you. It's really good to be on this channel, and it's great to collaborate with you. Thanks for having us on. And this is a really fun topic you brought up here, like the wish list of 2022. Something to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to diving in.
Definitely. So let's jump in straight away with a prediction, please, Steve.
Yeah, right. Okay, so the first prediction that I've got is that Bron Breakker, Rex Steiner, whichever you prefer, he will be called up to Raw or he will be called up to Raw or SmackDown in the WWE draft later this year. Because I think everybody and their gran probably predicted he'd win the NXT Championship at New Year's Eve, so that was not a surprise to many. But it feels like he is the face of what this new NXT and the idea of what we've got with this new NXT is to get people that will be future main eventers for WrestleMania. So if they think he's the face of this now, I think he's the one that's going to be fast-tracked up. And the fact he's already NXT champion, it makes you feel that perhaps, I don't know, let's say, we don't really have takeovers anymore, do we? But let's say around SummerSlam time, by that point, he's probably done all he needs to do in NXT 2.0 at this point, and he probably will be ready for Raw or SmackDown. And judging on his in-ring work, I wouldn't say he's perfect at this point, but I think with 9 to 10 months, he's definitely got something there. He's kind of got the Steiner attitude, which is really fun to see. It's different to one of these lot of soft promos we've got. He's not afraid to mix it up. He's physical. He's kind of got that Goldberg presence about him. So I think he's got a lot of things that tick the boxes, and I think WWE will push him to the moon. And I think, Raw SmackDown is definitely in his future in 2022.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. I think it'll be very telling. Like you said, this is a new NXT that we're seeing. We haven't really seen anyone kind of move up to the main roster from this new batch. So I think it's going to be very telling how that transition works going forward, because, we haven't had the best kind of experience with some of these NXT call-ups. There have been some great ones, I'm not going to kind of downplay them all, but yes, I think it's going to be very telling. Where would you like to see him, Raw or SmackDown?
I think it depends how the draft comes at that point. But of course, if you were to look at the rosters of what we've got right this second, I think obviously SmackDown probably is the place that needs him more, because they could probably fast track him up the ladder quite quickly there. Roman, we go to the weekly TV right now. Roman Reigns has said, look, I've beaten everybody, which is why they brought Seth Rollins from Raw for a match, because they have no one on SmackDown to fill that void at the moment. Perhaps it was meant to be a Drew McIntyre, but he's out injured. Yeah. So someone like Bron Breakker coming in, he could actually be quite good to come in, perhaps squash a few people on the way up. It almost feels like, to mention a Brit in Ridge Holland, he's come up and perhaps it was too soon and it shows. I hope that Bron Breakker wouldn't suffer that same sort of fate. But at the same time, for me, I think Bron Breakker, he's going to go places. So I put a little prediction out last year when I first saw him in there. I was like, him and Gabe Stevenson at some point, I think will be a future main event of WrestleMania. We might be talking 10 years from now, but I think that certainly could be something we could see long-term down the road. But yeah, SmackDown probably would be the one I'd pick right now. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I think they need it more. Definitely. There's definitely space for a new big star on that show. The Steiner brothers are one of my favorite tag teams. So just to see, a mesh of both of those people in one person, I'm really, really high on him. I will put my hands up. I haven't actually watched him versus Ciampa yet, but I've heard good things, so I definitely need to check it out. I love the Steiner singlet, the colourful style of it. I'm really high on him, and I am hoping for good things. How confident are you in this prediction? Do you think this is quite likely to happen this year?
I think for myself, I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. Obviously, you can never account for injuries. You can never account should something happen that can change the game completely. But you'd say if he's on the path that he's been so far in the first, 3 or 4 months we've seen him, the only way is up for Bron Breakker, Rex Steiner. And I think that is a very bright future. Like you say, you can see both Steiners in there. You've got the sort of in-ring ability of what you can see of both of them. Almost probably more of a promo like of Scott Steiner. Holler if you hear me on that one. But, it's just... for me, I feel that, literally, I can see a top guy in him. And I just hope that when he goes up, that he would be treated the same. But the thing is, the difference between now and a lot of those previous ones, Vince is kind of running the ship now. All those Triple H guys are no longer there. So there's no excuses anymore. It's time to sink or swim with NXT. And if it doesn't work this time, in my opinion, Vince can't point the finger and say, Triple H, you've done this wrong, or it's someone else in amongst like Road Dogg, whoever in the booking. It's his people involved with this now. But it's, the people power of John Laurinaitis, we've got the Nick Khans of this world all sort of involved with this. So it's up to them now to make stars out of this and get them in the direction that they want for Raw and SmackDown.
Fingers crossed they nail it, man. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Very strong prediction to start with. I certainly put some confidence in that one. I'd say, it's quite likely to happen, just from what we're seeing anyway. Right, let's hit us with the next prediction, please, Steve.
So the next prediction, as I see there's AEW behind you, I felt myself there has to be an AEW talking point. And the one I've gone with is that I believe Johnny Wrestling, that's right, Johnny Gargano will come and face Bryan Danielson in All Elite Wrestling. For me, it's a dream match. It's something I really, really want to see. And I never thought that, Johnny Gargano would leave NXT at any point in his career. He's not there now. Yes, I know he's due to become a father very, very shortly, but there's no reason he couldn't have signed a contract before doing that. So for me, I think All Elite Wrestling is going to be the destination for Johnny Wrestling. I don't know about yourself.
I don't know if you saw, there was a recent Tony Khan interview. He said about, what is it, Beach Break? Their big show that they usually do. I think it's in Gargano's hometown or where he's from. And he said a little bit of a hint where he said he's worth it or something along those lines. So it's the seeds have somewhat been planted. I wouldn't be surprised to see him over there. We see a lot of these kind of indie guys that have come up together before, whether they've gone to NXT or whether they've gone, the Johnny Garganos, the Young Bucks, all these kind of people that were around each other in the PWG days. And they're all just kind of coming back together now. And so it would not surprise me at all to see him. This match, though, this match will definitely deliver. Danielson has just been on an absolute tear, putting on classic after classic this year in AEW. So I would personally love to see it. Do you think this is likely to happen?
I do feel that there's a chance of it, and here's my reasoning why. The other little thing we have to remember also with people that when they are not involved with WWE, not involved with NXT or in the company anymore, Johnny Gargano didn't take long to go from Johnny Wrestling to Johnny Twitch. He got the Twitch channel straight up, didn't he? And said, if you want to see me somewhere, shout it loud enough, I'll be there. I wasn't aware of the Beach Break part, but I was aware that they were going to be, it's Cleveland, I believe, is where Johnny Gargano's from. I believe that's the end of the month, isn't it? That would be a great place for him to come in. I think the match with Bryan Danielson as well would be perfect because, they've probably wrestled in indies like many, many years ago, but we haven't seen that. And both of them have evolved so much. You look at Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano, the babyface Johnny Gargano can get anyone on side. Bryan Danielson's just amazing right now. Like you said, he can finish matches so many different ways. He's character work as well. When you look this past week on Dynamite, the way he was with the judges and when he did the pile driver that Jerry Lynn did, and went, look what I did, look at that. And then the adverts as well, had the sort of picture and he's almost doing them in front of the judges. It was almost like, I'm here to impress you because I know that if we go 60 minutes, I'm going to win. This Bryan Danielson is so much fun to watch. And the thing that's great with both of these, they're both used to a very long match as well. And I think if you could give them 30 minutes, 45 minutes, even the 60 minutes, I know that they're going to deliver in it. The only main question with this one of whether there's a a point of where I believe this will happen in 2022 is some things Tony Khan makes us wait for. Obviously, CM Punk came back last year, and you think the big money match would perhaps be CM Punk versus Kenny Omega. We've not had that yet. I know Kenny Omega's not around at the moment, but we're probably going to wait a bit longer for that match. We've been building towards something like that, where I think something like this, Bryan Danielson isn't the champion, Johnny Gargano isn't either coming in, and you could just do this match straight off the bat. So I would like to see it as soon as Revolution, but let's try and say perhaps double or nothing to be optimistic. But if I had to give a go out of 10, I'm going to go for a 6. I'm slightly less, just because the door with storyline for NXT with Johnny Gargano was left open with Grayson Waller. There's always a chance. I suppose he could go back, but a part of me feels in my head, and probably heart talking more here, I want to see Johnny Gargano in All Elite Wrestling. It'd be fun to see him there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the match would be absolutely crazy. And how spoiled are we right now that, some of these dream matches that some of us have, they are possible. I've spoken to other people about the likes of Shibata and what he could do in AEW, and we've already seen Minoru Suzuki versus Bryan Danielson, which these are matches we never thought we would ever see, and we're getting them. So yeah, I don't kind of never doubt these dream matches, because they could happen all the time.
It's a giving period in wrestling right now, isn't it? We just seem to be everything we seem to want. We seem to be getting in an abundance. And you mentioned there was Shibata. That's a great point. Never thought we'd see him back. And you know what? It was so amazing to watch him in Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, man. Let's move on to some dream wishes, some wishes for 2022. So hit me with your first one, please, Steve.
Well, you mentioned Shibata a minute ago. They're making the comeback after so long away. Obviously, we've seen the likes of Edge, and obviously we mentioned Daniel Bryan already, Bryan Danielson. What about Paige returning in 2022? That's the one that I think would be top of the wish list for me, because mainly, first off, we have to say, look, health and safety is the most important thing. If she's cleared and she's good to go, then that's when I want to see it. If not, then of course, it's not a safe place for her to be. But that Paige has taken inspiration of seeing this. She's been public about it on Twitch, on Twitter, and saying that she wants to. If she can get herself in the position, I think it'd be pretty darn special. And this doesn't have to necessarily be a WWE wish either, because yes, the Royal Rumble is this month. We love a surprise. A lot of surprises have already been pre-announced, which makes me believe we've got a couple more left up the sleeve to not take the shine away. Paige could be one of them. I'm holding out as Bayley being the other, but we'll take that another time. For me at this particular moment, I think with Paige, if she wasn't to be cleared by WWE, the other note is her contract actually expires with WWE later this year. So if she's good to go with other medical, what's to say that Saraya couldn't be All Elite, couldn't be a knockout? There certainly is, like you say, it's a situation in wrestling right now where we seem to be given so much. And to be fair, someone as passionate for the business as Paige has been, it would be great for her and great for her fan base to see her make a comeback.
Yeah, 100%. I think. Where would you personally like to see her? Would you prefer a WWE return for her, or would you prefer her kind of going somewhere else and starting anew?
That's a really good question. For me, I would say I'm one of those. I want people where they're happy. I'd like Paige in a way. In a way, I'd like to see it in WWE purely because I do believe that there's unfinished business. I think that there's certainly programs and matches that we never really got the opportunity to properly see with Paige, and even the ones we did see, they'd feel so much fresher. They would feel so fresh to see them now. The other thing that I would say is, though, if you were to put her, say, in All Elite Wrestling or in the Knockouts division, she could be the face of those divisions. Obviously, maybe not immediately, but she's got the experience, she's got an it factor, and she's a household name. So she could be of benefit to any women's division in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I could see arguments either side. I think WWE, I wouldn't say their women's... It lacks in kind of terms of the size of the roster. Obviously, we're seeing, they need some help booking the Rumble at the moment. But in terms of star power, I don't know how much she's needed, but another good worker would obviously benefit them hugely, especially Paige. But I don't know, for AEW, I think I've had some conversations before, and I think they need a real massive debut. I think Ruby Soho was just nearly there, but if they could deliver Paige walking out for that women's division to add a real energy and a real spark, I think it would be huge for them, and especially the women's division, which we've all kind of criticized it, and they they hear those criticisms, but they are improving. Definitely improving. We're seeing some more stories. We've got 2 belts in that division now. But yeah, I think Paige would do great things over there. And like you said, health and safety first. That's the most important thing. I'm not sure how bad Paige's injuries were, but I don't know if you saw the report about Shibata. He had his brain removed and put back in.
What? God.
Yeah. And he's wrestling. So if wrestling, not just like, let alone walking,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so what people can do now that, medicine and these kind of things have improved so much to the point, like you said, we're seeing the likes of Edge and Danielson and these people that we didn't expect to see back. So yeah, I don't think it's unfathomable. What do you think it would be likely to have her back this year?
I know that she would want it, so that's the thing that makes me think if she really pushes for it, it will happen. But of course, she needs to be cleared to do so. So it does come down to the doctors. So for me, on a scale of 1 out of 10, I wouldn't actually like to give any number on it, just purely because I think it's out of our control. On a wish list, though, of course it'll be a 10 because I was a big fan of Paige and I would really like to see it happen. Just one small thing as well, you mentioned there with All Elite Wrestling needing that sort of something for the women's division. Paige certainly would be that. But I mean, with the likes now available, which they'll be available to join soon, the likes of a Toni Storm and Ember Moon, Taya Valkyrie, so many talents have been let go from WWE that I think would be an asset to a division like the AEW's right now. Will give great experience to it as well. I do think there's some very bright things coming to that division in 2022. And who knows, if WWE doesn't want to have Paige, then perhaps that could be the AEW's game as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it would be great to see. I can certainly understand why it's a wish of yours for this year. Steve, hit me with your final wish for 2022, please.
So I've gone outside the box of wrestling. You told me to go wild with it. So I've decided to go with Impact Wrestling and an idea of bringing back the 6-sided ring for a pay-per-view once a year. And I've got my idea of what pay-per-view it should be. Now, usually hold it around January. Now, they had it before Hard to Kill last year. I've not seen Hard to Kill yet, so I'm spoiler-free at this second. I don't know if they're going to bring it for later in the month as an Impact Plus special, but Genesis is the show. And I think Genesis is sort of a symbolism of around the beginning. Goes back to like the history and the dynasty of what TNA was founded upon. I think would be a great place to bring it back once a year. Now, I understand the 6-sided ring is very different to 4 sides. It takes time to get used to. You could be asking for a few like, hang on, how do I run the ropes here and stuff like that? But these are professionals. I'm sure that if they had like a month to prepare for it or whatever, they'd be fine with it. But it's a great excuse as well just to have that there. Maybe bring back some of the old TNA traditions, maybe like a King of the Mountain match. We've had Ultimate X last night, but I mean, that's of course one of those traditional matches. Maybe a Feast or Fired. I mean, if someone's out of contract or something, but I don't know. You can take your questionable ones of what you liked and didn't like from the old TNA wrestling, but bring it back for like a nostalgic sort of style pay-per-view. I think it just could be something different rather than some of these Impact Plus ones that are like Turning Point and No Surrender. Don't get me wrong, they're all right, but I feel that it's the main pay-per-views, the 4 big pay-per-views that offer something every year that you have to see. The other ones don't always give me that grasp. I think if you did this for a Genesis, for example, brought back maybe a Lethal Lockdown pay-per-view or something is one of those ones as well, the Steel Cage pay-per-view, those sort of things I think would bring people, really excite people and bring them back in. So for me, 6 sides to come back once a year, I think would be a really, really cool idea.
Yeah, when you sent this over to me, I was like, yes, I love it. Yeah. I just think as well, where we've kind of had, I think we're at a stage now where there is a lot of kind of TNA nostalgia because of like the time has passed nicely. So I think what you said is right. I think it will bring back some eyes to it. I used to watch TNA. Oh, they're bringing back a 6-sided ring. I think it definitely could work. I think there would be issues with, the workers trying to get used to it. A lot of people aren't very high on it from what I've read.
Yeah.
Just working that kind of ring, but AAA use a 6-sided ring as well, don't they? So you might have some people that have that experience anyway. King of the Mountain, though, I have to disagree. I did not like that stipulation. I apologize, but I did not like that. A reverse ladder match just baffles me. Did they not tease some kind of, when Ethan Page was there, they may have actually done it, but they were kind of teasing like a retro TNA style pay-per-view, weren't they? Was it last year or the year before?
I think
Because
it
I
was when
remember
the
the Young
pandemic.
Bucks going back and forth. Were
Yeah,
trying to get Young Bucks involved.
it was just before the pandemic hit. They were due to do it, and then they had to sort of cancel everything, and everyone wasn't sort of able to get there. So all this big TNA show they were playing, I think they were going to try and do the North versus the Young Bucks, which, let's be fair, would have been
Yeah,
amazing. But yeah, it never unfortunately went down. But yeah, it's one of those things that I don't think we'd have got the full shebang of it. And I understand, yeah, some of the gimmick matches TNA did back in the day were not all necessarily perfect, but for the nostalgics there, I think it would be quite fun. And the thing is now also, I believe TNA celebrates its 20-year anniversary this year as well. So I think that's a nice little touch to add that sort of part to the stipulation of the pay-per-view as well. But it's hard to know exactly how it would go down. But the nostalgia is coming back in, because we had the TNA heavyweight title back for a while as well with Moose for about, I want to say it was about 6 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. But when they did the unification with Rich Swann, may have actually been the start of last year, actually. But yeah, either way, for me, it would be fun for it to go down. For me, it's a wild idea. I don't know if necessarily it'd be something they would think about, but certainly it'd be something I think would be fun to watch.
Yeah, I love it. I would love to see the six-sided ring just back for one time. And I think as well, we're getting to another kind of generation of wrestlers that probably grew up on TNA. So there's probably some wrestlers there that think, yeah, I'd love to. That's a dream of mine. I've always wanted to get the six-sided ring at TNA. So I think it will give the wrestlers a bit of nostalgia as well. And even some of the match types you've mentioned, like Lethal Lockdowns and stuff, the stuff that they were probably watching, coming up. I think they would love to be a part of it. And the way they're booking the women as well, women Lethal Lockdown or whatever it may be, could go that route as well. But yeah, let's get some TNA nostalgia vibes back. It'd be lovely to see. Some strong predictions, Steve, and some very good wishes that would definitely on my list for this year. If they could happen, it'd be great. Please make sure you check out SCW Steve's channel. All the information is down below. The guy is working very, very hard. Just constant stuff out there. Great stuff. Just well articulated videos. Just knows his stuff. Anything coming this year that people can expect from you, Steve?
Well, I mean, obviously being January time, it's Royal Rumble season. So yeah, there's lots of videos in the pipeline. In fact, I've got your good self. It's going to be involved in a collaboration, which hopefully may be already available by the time this comes out. I'm not sure, but it will be what YouTubers think is the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time. So it'd be interesting to know what people decide. I'm trying to get a collective amount of YouTubers together to sort of all make it like a Royal Rumble vibe match as well, if it kind of works, to see how many predictions we can get out there. But as well as that, fantasy booking Royal Rumble matches will be coming up. I've got an idea for the Women's Royal Rumble, especially now all these surprise names being thrown out there also. And of course, as the start of the year, there's always the 10 dream matches we need to see for AEW, WWE, and all this carries on as we go into the road of WrestleMania, whether it's WWE, AEW, Impact. Videos come flying out all the time. So yeah, it's definitely a fun place to be, and I love a good Q&A as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. But thanks for letting me plug my channel, and I have to say to everybody, I actually thoroughly enjoy your content that you throw out on your channel. I've been watching your channel for quite a long time. Been subscribed for a while, and for anyone that isn't, why they're not wasting time already by not hitting that subscribe button is beyond me, because honestly, quality content consistently coming out from you, GG, and yeah, it would not be a mistake from anyone to have on their 2022 wish list to watch some more GG on wrestling.
Oh man, really appreciate that. Definitely, I'm working harder this year. Some good content coming, and hopefully loads of familiar faces. I do just want to commend you. As soon as the Impact WWE stuff come out, you were straight on it. The video's out. Make sure you check it out. I couldn't believe it. I saw it yesterday. I was like, well done, man. Straight away on it. Love it. Thank you so much for joining me, Steve. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Make sure you subscribe to mine. Respect yourself. Don't neglect yourself. And I'll see you soon.